So in February this year, ESMA published the Level 2 regulatory technical standards that tackle the settlement discipline regime under the CSD or Central Security Depository Regulation. What the discipline regime brings into play is penalties and charges that will be charged against each transaction that fails to settle within the T+2 time frame. So the charge will work in a way where the penalty will be charged on a daily basis based on the notional value of the transaction up until the mandatory buying period. The majority of market participants are in favour and support a harmonised settlement discipline regime as they believe it will increase operational performance. However, many in the market believe the charges and penalties aren't high enough to change current behaviour. If an equity trade fails to settle on time, that will incur a 1 basis point charge or penalty against the notional value of the trade. So to put that into context, a transaction with a notional value of €100,000 were to fail, that would be hit with a €10 penalty for each day the trade fails up until mandatory buying period. Of course, institutions can borrow to cover short positions, but borrowing can be expensive. For example, it can cost 50 basis points to borrow and settle a trade in the market, whereas you could be charged 1 basis point to fail that trade. Therefore, an institution could save 49 basis points by letting the trade fail rather than settle on time. Well, the settlement discipline regime could potentially drive up failed trades rather than decrease them. If that were to happen, it would be a stark example of the unintended consequences of the regulation. So a buy-in is a widely available remedy that can be used in case a transaction fails to settle on intended settlement date. So for example, if the seller of the transaction is unable to deliver to the purchaser is within their right to instruct a buying agent to enter the market, purchase and deliver those securities to replace the original order. The idea being is that buy-in can then put both parties back to the same economic state that they would have been in should the original transaction settle on time. Well, under the settlement discipline regime, there will be a 2-tier buy-in period. For liquid assets, that will take place 4 days after intended settlement date. For illiquid assets, that will take place 7 days after intended settlement date. The problem with bringing in buy-ins as a penalty could be it could dissuade some market participants from entering into certain transactions, which could cause liquidity problems. There's also another knock-on effect of the penalty whereby some market participants may try to cancel and rebook transactions before the buy-in date, which will then increase operational risk.